Meet your second brain, why your gut holds the key to sleep and stress. You've tried the blue light blockers, you've cut caffeine, you even downloaded that expensive sleep app that makes ocean sounds, and yet your sleep still sucks. You lie awake at night, not from a racing mind, but from something deeper, a discomfort in your core, a flutter, a tension that won't name itself. Maybe it's not just in your head, maybe it's in your gut. We tend to think of the gut as a place that digests food, a biological tube. But what if I told you it's also a brain? Not metaphorically, literally. Your gut is lined with over 100 million neurons. It produces more serotonin than your brain. It communicates back and forth with your central nervous system in real time. And the tiny ecosystem living inside your belly, your microbiome, is talking to your sleep, your mood, your immune system, and even your dreams. This isn't fringe science. This is the new frontier of mind-body medicine. And in this episode, we're diving deep into it. Welcome to episode 21 of the Stress and Sleep series. Today we're exploring a connection you feel every day, even if you've never named it. The gut-brain axis. Because sometimes the reason your thoughts won't settle, or your cortisol won't drop, or your sleep won't come, is because the village of microbes living inside you is out of balance, and they've been trying to tell you. So let's start at the beginning, with the gut itself. We used to believe the brain was the boss, top-down command center, CEO of the body. The gut, just the warehouse, storing, digesting, eliminating. But research over the past 2 decades has flipped that narrative upside down. Turns out your gut is more like a co-pilot. It's home to its own nervous system, called the enteric nervous system. A massive, complex network that works both independently and in conversation with your brain. That conversation happens along what scientists call the gut-brain axis. Think of it as a high-speed two-way highway. Your brain sends signals to the gut, like when stress slows digestion, and your gut sends signals back, like when inflammation triggers anxiety. And right in the middle of all that messaging, your microbiome, trillions of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms that play the role of chemical translators. These microbes produce neurotransmitters, including serotonin, dopamine, and GABA, which influence how calm or alert you feel. They affect inflammation levels, immune responses, and even how much melatonin your body produces. When your gut is balanced, those microbes send signals of safety, stability, and readiness for rest. When it's out of balance, the message gets scrambled. You feel wired, foggy, on edge. You lie awake and think it's all in your head. But the roots are deeper. Let's take serotonin, for example. Often called the happy hormone, it helps regulate mood, digestion, and sleep. About 90% of your body's serotonin is produced in the gut, not the brain, the gut. And serotonin is the precursor to melatonin, your body's natural sleep hormone. If your gut lining is inflamed, or if your microbiome is out of sync, serotonin production drops. Melatonin becomes inconsistent, sleep becomes fragile. Or take cortisol, your stress hormone. High cortisol keeps you awake at night. And what regulates cortisol? A well-functioning HPA axis, which is directly influenced by your gut health. Chronic gut issues like leaky gut, dysbiosis, or even mild bloating can lead to chronic low-grade inflammation. That inflammation drives cortisol up. It creates a constant state of threat, even if there's no real danger. This is why you can feel exhausted but wired. It's why your mind won't slow down even when your body is done. It's not that you're weak or broken, it's that your internal messaging system is confused, and your gut might be the one sending the SOS. So when people ask, "Why can't I sleep even though I'm tired?" I often want to ask back, when's the last time you listened to your gut? In the next parts of this episode, we'll explore how common gut imbalances contribute to sleep issues, how certain foods and habits unknowingly sabotage your microbiome, and what practical, doable steps you can take to nourish your inner ecosystem, not just for digestion, but for deep, grounded, healing sleep. Because the truth is, your gut doesn't just digest what you eat. It digests your day, your stress, your joy, your grief, and if it's overwhelmed, your brain will be too. Microbiome in chaos. How an unbalanced gut keeps you up at night. You probably never thought that your late-night anxiety or middle-of-the-night wake-ups could be traced back to your gut. After all, most of us think of digestion and sleep as separate systems. But when your gut microbiome is out of balance, your brain feels it, and more often than not, your sleep is the first thing to suffer. So what throws your microbiome into chaos? Start with the obvious. Diet. The standard modern diet, high in sugar, low in fiber, filled with processed foods, is like chemical warfare on your gut flora. Sugar feeds the wrong kinds of bacteria. Low fiber starves the beneficial ones. Preservatives, emulsifiers, and artificial sweeteners disrupt the gut lining and reduce microbial diversity. Your microbiome thrives on real food, plants, fermented foods, complex carbs, not on energy drinks, microwave meals, and protein bars laced with corn syrup. When this delicate ecosystem tilts in favor of harmful bacteria, a state known as dysbiosis, your gut becomes inflamed. Inflammation triggers your immune system, which then signals your brain through the vagus nerve and bloodstream. It's like your gut is pressing the panic button over and over, and your brain never gets the memo to stand down. You don't sleep well because, biologically, your body doesn't feel safe. But food is just the start. Let's talk about antibiotics. Most of us have taken antibiotics at some point for infections, tooth procedures, or even as a precaution after surgery. While antibiotics can be life-saving, they're also gut-wrecking. They wipe out both harmful and beneficial bacteria, leaving your microbiome depleted and unprotected. And unless you actively rebuild it afterward with the right foods and probiotics, that imbalance can last for months, even years. Now add in stress. Chronic psychological stress, even low-level background stress you've normalized, alters the composition of your microbiome. It increases intestinal permeability, also known as leaky gut, weakens your gut lining, and promotes the growth of bacteria associated with inflammation and cortisol spikes. So when you're stressed, your gut gets stressed. And when your gut is stressed, your sleep becomes collateral damage. Alcohol? Same deal. It disturbs the gut barrier, promotes inflammation, and reduces microbial diversity. Same with overuse of NSAIDs like ibuprofen. Even things like sleep deprivation itself can lead to microbiome imbalance, which then causes more sleep issues. It's a vicious cycle, one that's easy to enter and hard to escape without awareness. But here's the part that most people miss. You don't have to be sick to have an unbalanced gut. You don't need a full-blown GI condition. You could feel mostly fine during the day, maybe just a little bloated or irregular or foggy, and still have enough dysbiosis to disrupt your brain chemistry and your sleep. Symptoms like frequent waking at 2 or 3 a.m., light sleep that doesn't feel restorative, or waking up with a clenched jaw and a racing heart, they can all be downstream effects of a gut that's silently inflamed. When your internal ecosystem is inflamed, your nervous system becomes hypervigilant, and in that state, deep sleep is biologically inaccessible. The connection is so strong that in several studies, people with diagnosed insomnia or anxiety disorders have been found to have significantly different gut microbiomes compared to those who sleep well. And when their gut health improved, through diet, probiotics, stress management, their sleep and mood improved too. So let's be blunt. If you're treating your insomnia with melatonin gummies while eating ultra-processed food every day, you're just managing symptoms. You're not addressing the root. And if you've ever felt like your body is fighting against rest, that no matter how tired you are, you can't seem to let go, maybe it's not a mindset problem. Maybe it's not unresolved trauma. Maybe it's your gut trying to get your attention the only way it knows how, by keeping you awake. But here's the good news. Just as your microbiome can be disrupted, it can also be rebuilt. And unlike some forms of healing that take years, changes in gut flora can start to happen in a matter of days. Real food, fermented food, prebiotic fibers, less sugar, less alcohol, less stress. The gut is a living, breathing, adapting world inside you. And when you treat it with respect, it rewards you with energy, clarity, and deep, uninterrupted sleep. In the next part, we'll walk through exactly what to eat and what to avoid to support a microbiome that helps you sleep like someone who finally feels safe. Because your gut doesn't just digest food, it sets the tone for your entire nervous system. And when that tone is calm, you can finally let go. Eat to sleep. Foods that heal your gut and calm your brain. You've heard the phrase, "You are what you eat." But when it comes to sleep, a more accurate truth might be, you sleep how you eat. Because the foods you consume don't just fuel your body, they program your brain. And your gut is the medium, the messenger, the translator between what you put in your mouth and how your nervous system feels. Let's start simple. If you want to sleep better, eat more fiber. I know, not sexy, not trendy, but fiber is microbiome gold. It's the primary fuel for the good bacteria in your gut. Soluble fiber, found in oats, apples, flax seeds, beans, it ferments in the colon and produces short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. These fatty acids reduce inflammation, reinforce the gut lining, and signal your brain to feel calm and safe. You might not feel the effects instantly, but night after night, they add up. Next up, fermented foods. Think yogurt with live cultures, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, miso, tempeh, kombucha. These foods are alive, literally. They introduce beneficial bacteria directly into your system. Studies have shown that people who regularly eat fermented foods have more microbial diversity. And that diversity is correlated with better sleep quality, lower anxiety, and improved resilience to stress. Then there are prebiotics, not the same as probiotics. Prebiotics are the fibers that feed the good bacteria you already have. Think garlic, onions, leeks, bananas, asparagus, Jerusalem artichokes. These ingredients don't just flavor your food, they shape your internal ecosystem. Now let's talk about tryptophan. It's an amino acid found in foods like turkey, eggs, tofu, seeds, and oats. Tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin, which, as we discussed earlier, becomes melatonin. Without enough tryptophan, your body struggles to produce these calming, sleep-supportive hormones. So no, the Thanksgiving nap isn't just a myth. It's biochemistry in action. And don't forget magnesium. Found in leafy greens, almonds, avocados, and dark chocolate, magnesium is known as the relaxation mineral. It helps regulate GABA, the brain's main inhibitory neurotransmitter, which helps your mind slow down and prepare for sleep. A gut that absorbs magnesium well supports a brain that knows when to rest. But just as important as what to add is what to remove. Ultra-processed foods, they kill microbial diversity. Sugar, it feeds the pathogenic bacteria that increase inflammation. Alcohol, it wrecks the gut lining and disrupts REM sleep. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose, they've been shown to alter gut flora in ways that spike anxiety and impair sleep. Even foods you think are healthy can be problematic if your gut is sensitive. Gluten, dairy, soy. For some people, these trigger low-grade inflammation, which quietly keeps the nervous system in a state of alert. The key is not to demonize food, but to tune in. Notice how you feel after meals. Keep a food and mood journal. Pay attention to what helps you wind down and what makes your heart race at 2 a.m. Because food isn't just fuel, it's information. Every bite you take is a message to your gut. And your gut, in turn, translates that message to your brain. It decides whether you sleep deeply or toss and turn, whether you feel safe or wired, whether you wake up restored or still tired. And no, you don't need to overhaul everything overnight. Start small. Add some sautéed greens to your dinner. Snack on a banana with almond butter instead of chips. Try fermented carrots or kimchi on the side. Have oatmeal with chia and walnuts instead of boxed cereal. You don't need perfection, you need consistency. Over time, these choices compound. The good bacteria get stronger, the inflammation fades, your gut lining heals, and one night, maybe sooner than you think, you'll lie down, exhale, and drift off. No racing thoughts, no cortisol spikes, just a quiet hum of safety in your body, because your gut feels supported, and your brain knows it's okay to let go. So if you've been stuck in a cycle of restless nights and anxious mornings, maybe the solution isn't in your supplement cabinet. Maybe it's on your plate. Because food is not just nutrition, it's medicine, it's therapy, and sometimes it's the most powerful sleep aid there is. You can meditate, you can journal, you can go to therapy, read every self-help book on the shelf, and repeat 100 affirmations before bed. But if your gut is in chaos, your mind will never fully calm. Because the gut-stress connection isn't just real, it's relentless, and it works both ways. Let's break that down. Stress affects your gut, that much we know. When you're under pressure, your body activates the sympathetic nervous system, otherwise known as fight-or-flight mode. Blood gets diverted away from digestion, enzymes slow down, gut motility changes. You might notice bloating, gas, irregularity, even pain. Chronic stress changes the pH of your gut, reduces microbial diversity, and increases intestinal permeability, making your gut lining more vulnerable to toxins and inflammation. That's how stress starts in the brain but ends up wreaking havoc in the belly. But here's the twist. Once your gut is disrupted, it starts feeding stress right back to your brain. The inflamed gut sends distress signals up through the vagus nerve, the main information highway between your gut and central nervous system. It also releases inflammatory cytokines, tiny molecular messengers that trigger alarm in your brain, making it harder to focus, regulate emotion, or sleep. Your brain receives this data as a threat. Even if there's no external danger, your body acts like there is. Racing heart, tense shoulders, shallow breathing, restlessness at night. That's not random. That's your microbiome speaking. And if you've ever felt like stress begets more stress, this is part of why. You're not just mentally overwhelmed, your biology is caught in a loop. This is especially true for people with anxiety or depression. Studies now show that many mental health disorders correlate with gut dysbiosis. In fact, fecal transplants from anxious mice to healthy ones can induce anxiety in the recipient just by altering the microbiome. That's how powerful the gut-brain relationship is. What lives in your gut can shape what lives in your head. So how do we break the loop? We begin with awareness. Not just of your thoughts, but of your digestion, your food choices, your energy after meals, your cravings, your bowel movements. Yes, even those. The gut is not a shameful place. It's where healing starts, and it's honest. It tells you everything you need to know if you're willing to listen. Then we support the nervous system, not by pushing harder or doing more, but by soothing the gut, giving it what it needs to function peacefully. That means lowering sugar, processed foods, and inflammatory oils. That means bringing in fermented foods, prebiotics, mineral-rich vegetables, and hydration. That means looking at how you eat, not just what. Are you rushing, scrolling, eating under stress? Because even the best food can't help if you're swallowing it in fight-or-flight mode. And finally, we rest. Not just with sleep, but with boundaries, with time off screens, with quiet meals, with slowness. Because your microbiome doesn't thrive in chaos. It needs rhythm, it needs consistency. It needs a lifestyle that says, you're safe now. That's when the loop starts to reverse. Your gut sends calmer signals. Your brain interprets those signals as safety. The nervous system relaxes, digestion improves, inflammation drops, neurotransmitters stabilize. You begin to feel for the first time in maybe years, grounded. Not because you forced yourself into a better mindset, but because your internal ecosystem is no longer screaming for help. This is the forgotten path to emotional healing, not always through the mind, but through the body, through the belly, through the microbes that have been there all along, waiting for you to notice them. So the next time you feel anxious, overwhelmed, or stuck in your head, ask yourself, how's my gut today? Because healing doesn't always start with your thoughts. Sometimes it starts with your microbes. The vagus nerve bridge: how gut signals rewire the nervous system. If the gut and brain are in constant conversation, the vagus nerve is their direct phone line. Stretching from your brainstem all the way down to your gut, weaving through your heart, lungs, and major organs, the vagus nerve is like a highway of messages, both directions, all the time. When it's working well, the signals are clear and calming. When it's disrupted, the messages are confused and your body feels unsafe, even if nothing is wrong. Most people have never heard of the vagus nerve, yet it's one of the most important players in your nervous system. It controls your parasympathetic response, the rest and digest mode that allows you to relax, heal, and sleep. When your vagus nerve is active and healthy, your heart rate slows, your digestion works efficiently, and your brain receives a steady signal. We're safe, we can rest now. But here's the problem. Chronic stress, poor gut health, and inflammation can reduce vagal tone. That means the signal between your gut and brain gets weak. The brain doesn't get the all-clear message, so it stays in hypervigilance, fight or flight mode. You might lie in bed and feel wired, your mind racing, your heart pounding, even when you're exhausted. That's not just anxiety, that's a nervous system that hasn't been told it can relax. How does the gut influence this? Through the microbiome. Your gut bacteria produce neurotransmitters like GABA and serotonin that directly activate the vagus nerve. A healthy, diverse microbiome sends strong, calming signals. A disrupted microbiome, on the other hand, produces fewer of these compounds, allowing stress signals to dominate. It's like static on the line. The call between your gut and brain drops, and all your brain hears is noise. The good news? You can strengthen your vagus nerve. You can train it, tone it, nurture it, just like a muscle. And when you do, your sleep and stress response improve dramatically. Simple practices like slow, diaphragmatic breathing stimulate the vagus nerve. Think of a long inhale through your nose, followed by a longer, gentle exhale through your mouth. That long exhale is like pressing the relax button in your nervous system. Humming, singing, or chanting also work. The vibrations activate vagal pathways that run through your throat and chest. Even gargling or splashing your face with cold water can stimulate this nerve, sending a signal of safety to your brain. But the foundation remains your gut health. When your gut is inflamed or imbalanced, the vagus nerve is constantly bombarded with distress signals. It's like getting emergency calls all night. No wonder your brain can't sleep. The way to quiet those alarms is by healing your gut, eating nutrient-dense foods, managing stress, staying hydrated, and incorporating probiotics and prebiotics, as we discussed earlier. What's fascinating is how quickly the nervous system responds when the gut is supported. Within days of improving diet and vagal stimulation, people often report better sleep quality, fewer nighttime awakenings, and a general sense of calm during the day. That's not magic, that's biology working as it should. So if you've been trying to fix your sleep with more apps, supplements, or even sleeping pills, consider this. Maybe it's not about adding more. Maybe it's about repairing the bridge between your gut and brain. Maybe it's about listening to what your body is already saying and sending it the right signals in return. Because at the end of the day, sleep isn't something you force. It's something you allow. And the vagus nerve is the permission slip. Practical gut-brain rituals for better sleep. Let's take everything we've explored, the science, the symptoms, the stories, and bring it down to where real change happens, your daily rhythm. Because gut health and sleep quality are not fixed by one magic food or supplement. They're shaped gently and consistently by your habits, your rituals, the small, quiet choices that say to your body, you are safe, you are supported, you can rest. Let's start with your morning. Before you reach for your phone, before caffeine, Give your nervous system a chance to set the tone. Open a window. Breathe deeply. Feel the natural light on your skin. That light tells your brain it's daytime, helping to reset your circadian rhythm. Hydrate with water, not coffee. Your gut lining is thin and delicate in the morning. It needs hydration to wake up. Add a pinch of sea salt or a splash of lemon if you'd like. Something alive. Something mineral. Then move your body. It doesn't have to be a full workout. A short walk, some stretching, a few squats while your tea steeps. Movement stimulates digestion, supports microbial diversity, and activates the vagus nerve. And speaking of tea, try warm herbal teas in the morning. Ginger, peppermint, or fennel. They calm the gut and support healthy motility. For breakfast, think fiber and protein. Oats with chia seeds and berries. Eggs with avocado and greens. Yogurt with ground flax and banana. These aren't trendy foods, they're microbiome nourishment. Avoid the spike and crash cycle of sugary cereals or pastries. Your gut bacteria thrive on stability. Give them a consistent rhythm, and they'll reward you with resilience. During the day, eat mindfully. That doesn't mean eating perfectly, it means slowing down. Chew more than you think you need to. Put your fork down between bites. Don't eat while doom scrolling or working. When you eat under stress, you shut down digestion. Even the healthiest food can't be absorbed in fight or flight. Treat mealtime as a pause, not a chore, not a rush. And don't forget to breathe. Every few hours, stop. Take 3 long, slow exhales. That's enough to activate your parasympathetic system. You don't need a retreat, you need moments. Micro rests, tiny signals that say you can relax now. In the evening, your gut and brain both begin to shift toward rest, but only if you let them. This is when ritual matters most. Dim the lights, power down screens. Your microbiome is affected by blue light too. It disrupts melatonin production indirectly. So give yourself a gentle wind down, warm tea, light stretching, journaling, anything that signals the work is done. For dinner, keep it simple. Avoid heavy meals late at night. Give your gut time to digest before you lie down. If you can, finish eating at least 2 hours before bed. Favor cooked vegetables, healthy fats, fermented foods, like miso soup, roasted root vegetables, wild rice, or sautéed greens with garlic and olive oil. Let your gut finish strong. And then the night rituals. This is not about perfection. It's about repetition. Maybe you keep a bottle of magnesium by your bedside. Maybe you write down 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe you listen to soft music or ambient sounds while you brush your teeth. These cues matter. Your nervous system learns what to expect. The more you repeat them, the safer your body feels. And of course, sleep hygiene still applies. A cool, dark room, no screens in bed, weighted blankets if they help. Keep your phone far from your head. Let your sleep space be sacred, not an extension of your to-do list. None of this is about being strict. It's about being loving. Creating an internal environment that feels safe enough for your brain to say, we're okay now. We can sleep. Because when your gut is calm, your mind follows. When your digestion flows, so does your mood. And when your daily life supports your internal world, your sleep becomes not just possible, but inevitable. So tonight, maybe start small. A warm cup of chamomile, a few deep breaths, a dinner made with care. These are not just health tips, they're acts of repair, of remembrance, that your body wants to sleep. It just needs to be reminded, gently, consistently, that it's allowed. When the gut speaks, real stories of sleep and stress transformation. Sometimes it takes hearing someone else's story to recognize your own. So in this part, let me share with you a few quiet revolutions, moments when people finally broke free from the cycles of sleepless nights and spiraling stress, not through more willpower or medication, but by listening to the whispers of their gut. There's Emily, a 36-year-old teacher from Portland. For years, she struggled with chronic insomnia. Every night, she'd lie in bed for hours, unable to turn her brain off. Her thoughts raced. Her body felt wired, even when she was bone tired. She tried everything. Melatonin, meditation apps, sleep hygiene, therapy, even prescription sleep aids. Nothing worked. One day during a podcast just like this one, she heard the phrase gut-brain axis for the first time. It struck her. She had always struggled with digestion, bloating, gas, irregular bowel movements, but no one ever connected that to her sleep. She decided to try something new, not extreme, just intentional. She started a food journal, added fermented foods, cut down on sugar, took a daily probiotic. She began practicing deep belly breathing before meals and taking walks after dinner. Within 3 weeks, she noticed something strange. Her belly was quieter, her mood was lighter, and she started falling asleep within 30 minutes instead of 3 hours. 6 months later, she was off sleep meds completely. Her secret? I stopped treating my brain like a problem. I started listening to my gut. Then there's James, a 44-year-old father of 2 and software engineer. He came to his doctor complaining of panic attacks, racing heart, chest tightness, lightheadedness, always in the middle of the night. He feared it was his heart. Turns out, it was his gut. Years of takeout, late-night snacks, energy drinks, and antibiotic overuse had left his microbiome depleted. His doctor ran some basic labs and suggested something wild, a gut healing protocol. Skeptical but desperate, James tried it. He cleaned up his diet, introduced bone broth, fiber-rich meals, magnesium, and cut caffeine after noon. He started journaling his symptoms, noticing how stress and food were deeply linked. The night terrors began to fade. His panic subsided. He said the turning point wasn't a supplement. It was when he stopped eating on the go and started cooking with his kids. My gut healed when I slowed down, he said. And when it did, the fear left my body. And then there's Sophia, a 29-year-old freelance writer who had struggled with depression for over a decade. She was used to antidepressants, therapy, and the roller coaster of hope and relapse. What she didn't expect was that a functional medicine practitioner would suggest testing her stool. It felt ridiculous at first, but what they found stunned her. Massive gut dysbiosis, overgrowth of harmful bacteria, almost no lactobacillus, high markers of inflammation. Her practitioner told her your brain fog, fatigue, and hopelessness, they might be downstream of your gut. That was the beginning of a year-long healing journey. She focused on nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory foods, worked with a dietitian, took targeted probiotics and herbs, restored her circadian rhythm. It wasn't overnight, but it was profound. She began to feel again, to hope, to create. It wasn't just that I could sleep again, she told me. It was that I wanted to get out of bed in the morning, for the first time in years. These stories aren't miracles. They're biology meeting attention. When people stop compartmentalizing the body and start listening to its signals, change becomes inevitable. Because your gut is speaking through your cravings, your bloating, your anxious thoughts, your inability to fall asleep or stay asleep. These are not random annoyances, they're invitations, clues, road signs pointing inward. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You don't need a diagnosis or a fancy protocol. You just need curiosity, compassion, a willingness to stop fighting your symptoms and start translating them. Because healing isn't about shutting your body up, it's about giving it a voice. And once you do, you may find, like Emily, James, and Sophia, that the answers were never out there. They were inside you all along. You've heard the science, you've followed the stories, and now maybe something inside you is stirring. A quiet realization that your gut might be trying to tell you something. Maybe your sleepless nights, your anxious days, your brain fog or burnout, they're not just mental. They're microbial, they're messages, and they've been waiting for you to listen. What if tonight, instead of reaching for another screen, another distraction, another escape, you reached inward? What if your next breakthrough didn't come from doing more, but from restoring what was always there? Rhythm, nourishment, calm. Because the gut isn't just about digestion, it's about direction. It leads the conversation between your body and your mind. And when it's in balance, everything softens. The stress fades, the mind quiets, the body finally feels like home again. So here's your gentle call to action. Start small. Choose one ritual from this episode that spoke to you. Maybe it's adding a fermented food. Maybe it's breathing slowly before meals. Maybe it's dimming your lights an hour earlier. One step, that's all. Healing isn't about revolution, it's about rhythm. Start listening, not just to your thoughts, but to your belly, your cravings, your energy, your sleep. Your gut speaks in sensations, not sentences. Learn its language and start trusting that your body wants to heal, that sleep is your natural state, that your microbes, these tiny, tireless allies, are working for you, even now. You're not broken, you're just disconnected. And this episode, maybe it's your reconnection point. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who's been struggling. Leave a review. Comment below. I'd love to hear which part hit home. And subscribe if you haven't already, because this journey isn't over. Next week, we're diving even deeper, exploring how trauma stored in the nervous system gets released, not just through talk therapy, but through body-based practices that complement the gut-brain healing we've started. Until then, breathe, sip something warm, say thank you to your gut. You're listening now, and that changes everything. Good night, and be well.